It's sort of, I think sort of $1 trillion of sort of like total AI investment by 2027 is sort of like, we're very much on track on. I think the $1 trillion cluster is going to take a bit more sort of acceleration, but we saw how much sort of ChatGPT unleashed, right? And so like every generation, the models are going to be kind of crazy, and it's going to shift the Overton window. And then obviously the revenue comes in, right? So these are forward-looking investments. And the question is, do they pay off, right? And so if we sort of estimated the GPT-4 cluster at around 500 million. By the way, that's sort of a common mistake people make, is they say, people say like $100 million for GPT-4, but that's just the rental price, right? They're like, you rent the cluster for 3 months. But it's, if you're building the biggest cluster, you gotta build the whole cluster. You gotta pay for the whole cluster. You can't just rent it for 3 months.
But can't you?
But then, really, once you're trying to get into the sort of hundreds of billions, eventually you got to get to like 100 billion a year revenue. Okay. I think this is where it gets really interesting for the big tech companies, right? Because like their revenues are on order, hundreds of billions, right? So it's like 10 billion, fine, and it'll pay off the 2024 size training cluster. But